Good afternoon, everyone. It is Coach Mel and the creator of the LEAP method coaching process. I am here today with, well, her name is Katrika, but I like to call her KP because she's just the bomb ditty. And we're here today to talk to her and hear about her experiences as she's gone through 24 weeks of our LEAP method process. And I want to thank you, KP, for taking some time out of your day, spending it with us, and just chatting here. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
So one of the things that I want to touch on right out of the gate is, you have been working on yourself and going through coaching and things like that in the past prior to LEAP. And if you could just share a little bit about why it was important for you to join the LEAP method coaching process back 24 weeks ago, because you've gone through 24 weeks of that program. So why was it important for you to take that step?
For me, it was one, curiosity, two, self-improvement. I'm always willing and wanting to try something different, do something better. You know, the whole thing about sanity, if you keep doing the same thing, you're never going to see different results. So something in my gut told me, why don't you just go ahead and try and see what this is about? And if it's all about LEAP, what does it stand for? What is it about? Would it help you? And there's a lot of questions I didn't have, but because of those questions I did have was the reason why I wanted to go ahead and join into it. So.
Awesome. Yeah, and LEAP ultimately stands for Lifestyle Enhancement and Achievement Process. And so during LEAP 1.0, we very much start laying the foundations, not just nutritionally, even though we have our thermometabolic nutrition, which starts healing the metabolism and taking you through that process. But then there's the habit and mindset formulation aspects and the work that we do with you. And so talk a little bit about how that LEAP 1.0 experience took place for you, and how it started evolving your life and yourself and the way you were growing. And then we can segue into where that went then when you moved on to the second portion of that.
So my anticipation actually going in was, okay, so I'm going to have a different change of nutrition. I'm going in for the physical to learn something more about how my body works and actually doing activities to enhance that. And then, I know there was other stuff that we're going to be involved with it, but I didn't know what that other stuff entailed until we actually got into it, where it wasn't just nutrition, it wasn't just physical, it was also mindset stuff. And at first I was like, okay, is she playing mind games? Or like, what's the whole purpose of it? And I'm like, so what's this got to do with working out? What's this have to do with nutrition? What does this have to do? And then, it's about the whole thing about the health out. So initially, a lot of us is like, what the hell? Okay, we're going to go ahead and play along. And then as the weeks add on to, I'm like, oh, okay, now I'm understanding. Okay, this makes sense. If I'm not taking care of my habits mentally, what I do physically will not actually change either. So it's kind of like a domino effect. It's going from inside out versus outside in. And that's what the first phase was. And some of us kind of bucked a little bit because, that's what we do. But
everyone's a little stubborn when they have to start that change.
And a lot of us did that. Because it's like, what is this? I'm like, what's this got to do with that? And then the group sessions that we have, I think that was beneficial for everything, to know that we all have similar attitudes and mindsets, and then we had differences. And because of those similar and differences, we learn from each other, and we also learn more about ourselves. So each week was like a foundation on top of a previous one. So yeah, the first one was Buckhead. Then yes, I'm open-minded. Okay, I'm learning. And then like, okay, we have an onion. Let's go start peeling back a little bit. I'm like, well, my onion's a little tight, so we're gonna have to work a little bit on that. But at least we're working on
Sure.
it.
Absolutely. Well, and I know, so, you said that really well, because it's about those little steps. And so then we segued into Leap 2.0, which dove in a bit deeper to that onion. And then you had there was a lot of things that took place for you that impacted you a lot differently than I think you even expected.
Yeah, it was okay. So physically, I changed in Leap 0.10, but Leap 2.0, mentally and emotionally and everything that applied after that, it happened in Leap 2.0, which is weird. So the physical and the emotional and everything, and learning, try to be open minded and absorb things in Leap 0.10. Leap 2.0, I'm like, okay, I already know what I'm getting into, but I feel like there's more that I can learn from this program. So you're more open minded, kind of what's going to be there, but you don't know what's going to be there exactly. And because of that, you're allowed to absorb more in. And for some reason, every freaking group session, whatever my mindset was going through for prior to, we happened to have discussion the day of. So I was like, okay, you need to stop, being big brother, big sister. Let me just marinate for a second. Like we will have, I would think like we had a week where there was, I don't know, week 7, week 8, like, okay, I'm getting tired, but I'm keep pushing it. We're gonna keep doing it. I'm gonna do it because I need to. I do what I need to. And then on that Wednesday, okay, some of you might be at this spot where either you don't want to do it or you do want to do it. I'm like, okay, is she obviously either you done this already or you experienced already, because I didn't say anything to you about this, but we're having this conversation. And then the next one will be something about, well, if you stress out, maybe you need to go ahead and just write the stuff down the night before, just the main things that, is on your head, and then go from there. Did that, and then that start working. Journaling, that start working. So some things you had to tweak. I had to tweak to be my own so it doesn't feel like it was homework. Because if it's homework, I'm just not gonna do it. And I learned that about myself. So I needed to do something where it was consistency about it. And 2.0 was a real game changer, emotionally and mentally for me. The emotional part was for me to reflect on myself, of the things I've been through and overcome in Leap 0.1 and Leap 2.0, and then just in general, and then where I want to go forward. And Leap has done that for me, and I didn't expect that. So yeah, there was a lot of stuff going on. Yeah.
Awesome. So what do you think for you, because you didn't expect the mindset work, self-work, to really impact you the way it did? Like, what are 1 or 2 things that was really aha for you that you're taking away as you move forward in your life, that will impact your growth as you move forward?
One thing is ownership. I've always been the person, like, I never blame somebody else for my doing or not doing. So if I've gained something or didn't gain, that was my fault because I did so much work or I did too much work. I own that. There's times where I didn't want to do something. The choices I made or didn't make, whether it be directly impacted to me or not. I've always owned that. But what I've learned is just because you own it, you need to also assess it. Sometimes you don't have to do anything about it. Like, okay, for example, why you get to this point, like say I work out, and then I lost 2 inches and I'm happy. Okay, why do you just coast at that point when you can still push? And I'm like, yeah, I own that. I'm coasting, but why? Are you happy at where you at, or are you just being lazy where you're at? And so it's kind of reflecting on that. And when you actually reflect on yourself, like, okay, do you want to continue, or this is where you want to be? And they're like, no, I want to be further than that. then we need to go ahead and do what you need to do. So ownership was number one. Um, Number two is just allowing time for myself. I've always been doing things for other people, even uh, serving in the military for almost 15 years. I've always done for other people, and I have no regret for that. That's just me.
Sure.
But I've learned that it's okay to do stuff for yourself and not uh, feel selfish about it, and that's pretty cool.
And not have the guilt.
So, and not have the guilt, and still, and then I think the main thing that was the saying that if you don't take care of yourself, how can you take care of others? And I've always known that, but actually to let that sink in, if you don't take care of yourself, how can you take care of others? I'm like, word, all right, I see what you're saying.
So you're living it now. Now you live it.
I'm living it. I'm living
That's
it. Yeah.
awesome. Very
Yeah.
cool.
That's for sure.
So if there are people that have experienced similar things as you have, I mean, you've done well physically, you've done well mentally, but obviously, you know, for you've always been a little bit, you know, I've known you for a while, and you're a lot more strong-minded than a lot of people are.
True.
But I think a lot of people still can relate to your story. And so knowing that there are a lot of people who aren't as strong-minded as you are and have been coming into this, what would you say to those people who are sitting on the fence about taking that leap?
I say, honestly, to each their own. You actually have to look within yourself. I mean, here's the difference. The difference is, why not try it and see if it is what it's supposed to be for you, then sit back and worry about, well, I could have, should have, would have. Like, obviously you're not happy where you're at. Obviously you're looking for something and you don't know what that something is, but you know you want to be better than with yourself, even if it's a little bit better. Then go ahead and take, I hate to use the pun, take the leap and go ahead.
I know, I'm always like, no pun intended.
No freaking pun intended, but take that leap. Because for me, my thing was, I like things that change. I like adapting. I like improving myself. And I previously, with my coach, we were doing everything. I mean, nutrition, we're doing this, we're doing that, we're all about it. But I felt like there was a void that I was missing. And so this lifestyle enhancement, well, what are you enhancing exactly? And so my mind thought was like, well, what do you have to lose? I mean, seriously, what do you have to lose other than going in? You get some tools, you learn a little bit more about yourself, and then, you know, you go from there. Or you don't, and you sit there marinating in, you know, whatever it is you're marinating in, and then move on to the next step. There's pain from regret or pain from discipline. It's your choice.
Truth, girl.
So there
Awesome.
you go.
Well, I appreciate you spending time with us today. And for anybody who's watching this interview, if what KP has said has resonated with you, feel free to reach out to us. Let's have a conversation. It's just having a conversation and seeing if what we do is a right fit for you.
You never know. And then, you know.
Yeah, go ahead.
I say go do it. I say go do it. I know for me, you know, some people were like, well, I could do it, but what if about financial, whatever? I said, look, there's a lot of stuff that I spent financially on stuff that sitting marinating or has benefited me, but you have to consider this like an investment. And if you invested a certain amount and you don't like it, it's like a savings. Okay, well then withdraw back. But at least you get to see what you can, what your investment is in placing for. You're doing it for yourself. And if you don't feel that's for yourself, then, you know, hey, you know, each their own.
Sure. But ultimately, whenever you're improving yourself, your return on investment will always be tenfold.
Always. It will come in your result. It'll be worth the investment. It's worth the investment. So
yeah, absolutely.
Do what's best for you.
Truth. And sometimes when you don't know what's best for you in the moment, you also have to go, all right, I have to learn that. And that's a part of that lifestyle enhancement achievement as well.
There you go.
For real. So, all right. Well, I appreciate you taking time out of your day today and spending it with us. And And again, if any of you are watching this that, you know, this resonates with you, let's have that conversation and see how we best can support you and improve your life. So thanks for spending time with me.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.